What's up? This is Brandon London, and you're listening to the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast. You hear that? The Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast. Let's go, Giants.
Good evening and welcome back, Giants fans, to the latest edition of the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast. As always, in association with Andy's Man Club. Lads, it's okay to talk, and we're going to do plenty of that this evening. Tonight we are 100% British, but absolutely still 100% Giants. Kev's joined us very briefly because he couldn't contain his excitement. And I mean, we're all... still on cloud 99, maybe. But yeah, it's Stan, Shine, and Crag back with you finally. After our 2-week hiatus, which saw us make that long trip over to New York for the Patriots game. And we're here to bring you the highlights of our weekend. What was turned into, I don't even think the word incredible does it any justice, but what an incredible weekend it was. Lads, how much do you miss New York already?
I don't know about anyone else, but all I keep thinking is like, right, then in New York, I knocked 5 hours off. And this time last week, I was doing the MSG tour, or I was on my way to MetLife Stadium. And yeah, it was absolutely phenomenal. One of the best weeks of my life, in all honesty, like when I compare it to some things. And I just keep reliving the moments over and over in my head. And like, I think it was Kev said just before we come on air, it's weird seeing you guys on a screen after spending like so much time with you in person.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it is a massive come down, but it's also been a really good sort of week, being able to reflect on it and talk to family and friends about the experiences that we all shared together. I mean, just something that's just like is imprinted in my brain now is like sitting up in the press box and Dan just actually pinching me, saying like, "Can you believe this is happening?" I mean, it was just such a awesome experience. And to be honest, if anything, it makes us want to do it more. It makes us want to do the podcast better, wants us to really sort of take this platform now and run with it. And it's just a massive thank you to people out there who actually watch this and listen to us and stuff. And, if you guys weren't turning up every week listening to us, we would never pursue this, and we would never sort of find ourselves in the position we were in when we were in New York.
Yeah, absolutely. Just echo everything that Kev's just said there. I think one of the most humbling experiences of the entire thing, and obviously we're going to do a complete run through shortly, but just speaking to some of the guys over in America and seeing the legitimacy that we have with them was a bit much at times. We do this just because it's four mates having a laugh. And to actually know the kind of scope and the impact that we have, not just on people over in the UK, but people over there, and how excited people were to talk to us. It's something I'll never forget. I'll dig into Craig's life, but as I was speaking to Kev and Dan before Shane came on, I've dreamt about New York twice since I've been home. I can't stop thinking about it, and we are going back. It is happening.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, some of the doors it's opened for us has been fantastic. Some of the people, like, you're talking about content creators over in the States who actually like saying that, what you guys are doing is really good. And it sort of just gives us a thirst for more. And it's just absolutely like they're buzzing, and we just want to make this better, and we want to continue it. And just love you all. So lads, I do have to go, so I will love you and leave you. But look forward to watching this back. Hopefully none of my bosses are watching this because I'm currently at work now. But here, have a good one. I look forward to seeing you later on, lads.
See you later, mate.
Kev, see you later, mate. Steve, evening. You're welcome. At the end of the day, it's we do this for fun. We do this because we love the Giants, and what it's turned into is beyond all of our wildest dreams, I think. And the picture I sent in the group chat, I think, was the day after we got back. They said, though you may leave New York, New York never really leaves you. you've been once and you'll want to go again and again and again and again and again. I've been fortunate enough to be in 4 times, and every time it doesn't fail to amaze me every time. It's an insane city. It's an insane area. We spent what seemed like half of our time in the area around MetLife Stadium as well. So it's just an unbelievable place. And if you've not had the opportunity to get over there, I thoroughly recommend that you do. Apologies, there were no predictions or usual game day content from us last week. Obviously, we were all very busy, and there was just so much to pack into that time that it just got away. Time just got away from us. We did as much as we could, I think, in the time we had, but we were just so busy every day. At the end of each day, we were absolutely knackered. By the end of day 7, my feet were shagged, and so it's like, we were averaging 25,000 steps a day. So yeah, we were on the go for the full sort of 7-8 days that we were there. But never fear, we are back, and we're back for the remaining 5 weeks of this regular season, and obviously into the off season as well. But before we get into the trip, don't forget to get your hands on some Giants merch over at usasports.co.uk. You can get yourself 10% off your entire order by using our code BIGBLUE. Pop that into the promo code in the basket and get yourselves 10% off your order. And also, coming up in less than 2 weeks now is our trip to Dublin. Myself, Kev, and producer Craig will be hopping back on a plane and going over the RSG to Dublin as we take on it's the Saints in week 15, isn't it? And if you're in Dublin or you fancy the trip over to join us, let us know. Get in touch with us, and we'll welcome you on board and welcome you to Buskers on the Ball, right in the heart of Temple Bar. So yeah, come along, join us for some drinks and some football. Obviously, we were out in the States for the Patriots game. By now you would have all seen the highlights, or not really many highlights, but the highlights anyway, or the game. You might have watched the game yourself anyway. So rather than talk about the game itself, we thought we'd bring you a peek behind the curtain at the 3 days that we were in New Jersey, and as part of the that weekend, it was just every moment was just pinch yourself. So yeah, Craig, want to kick us off?
Yeah, so before we do, just a couple of things to note. One, there'll be a lot of pictures and videos up on the screen. So to anybody who's listening to the audio version, we'll do our best to try and describe it, but we would recommend maybe watching the YouTube version just as a change, just because you'll be able to see exactly what we're talking about. And I just feel like it will be a better experience for you. We've got videos. We do have an audio clip. We've got lots and lots of pictures. I think there's like 70 odd. So bear with us. 70 odd pictures also means it's probably going to be a bit of a long one. Also, we've got a new way of trying to display the pictures. So if we start going laggy or if anything happens, please let us know in the comments and we'll try and switch it to our contingency plan. But for now, we will kick it off with the Saturday, the first of the 3 days, with our trip to MetLife Stadium. So we were out there on the Saturday to do the tour. Tour was at 1 p.m. We were joined by Rob Gurney, who's one of the followers. He was out there for us, and we appreciate Rob for hanging out with us. He hung out with us all that day. He came to Reds in the evening, and we also saw him at the tailgate. So so the tour is definitely worth doing. The stadium itself, I know it gets a lot of flack for what it is, but I think if you actually go there and you see it in person, it's not quite as bad as maybe it's described by some of the fans. I'm not saying it's the best stadium in the world, but I don't feel like it kind of deserves the criticism that maybe it gets. So we obviously had the tour. There was the 3 of us. Kev was at the Rangers game that day, seeing his Bruins lose, unfortunately, to the Rangers. We had quite a good weekend while we were out there in the terms of sports and how New York teams did while we were out there, didn't we, boys?
Certainly did.
I mean,
I think even with our own sports teams, bar one dodgy team on a Friday night.
Yeah, thanks. I don't want to say anything, but I've come back.
Scum. You're lately scum.
I don't want to say anything, but I've come back and made the trip to Eastleigh yesterday for the Reading loss away in the
How
FA
did that
Cup.
go?
So, yeah, that went absolutely phenomenally. Cannot speak highly enough of standing in a shed in the pouring rain, watching Reading just be disappointing yet again. But back to the good stuff. So on the tour, if you haven't been on it, we'll try not to spoil too much, but we'll show you a few things and just go through a few things. So first thing you do is you go through to the 50 Club, which is bang on the 50-yard line down the bottom. I think this is literally just a bar where you can go in and just hang out if you want to before you go up to your seats. After that, you walk across to the Legacy Club. Now, in the Legacy Club, they have busts of a lot of our sort of famous players, including, as you can see on screen, Michael Strahan and LT. There's 2 loads of busts in here, and then there's just Giants memorabilia pretty much wall to wall. They've got Eli Manning's locker, as you can see. That was taken straight out of the old Giants stadium. And as we go through the pictures, there's just different displays. The tour guide was just kind of explaining that both the Jets and the Giants have a legacy room, but the Jets haven't really done as much with theirs that the Giants have done. You know, they've got all the Lombardis, all the NFC Championship bits kind of in there, as long as all sorts. It's
Jets ain't gonna have much in there.
Well, no,
Jets
they're
ain't
not,
gonna
are they?
run.
No. So as you go through, you then get a quick spiel about the Quest Diagnostics Centre, which that picture is literally taken from the stadium itself, up in the gods. Really interesting to see how close it is. The Jet. We spoke briefly about the Jets one, and it's nowhere near the stadium, so it's nice for the Giants to kind of have everything in close proximity. And then you get a nice little view of something called the press box. I'm not sure if we're familiar with the press box, are we, boys? Here we are, sat front row. We weren't at this point. Here we are, sat front row in the press box. We were not privileged enough to be put on the front row when we actually got to game day, but we will take it because it was amazing just to sit there anyway. We then had a quick tour of the suites, so through to the different suites. Shane asked the question after being told that there was a big group of people who ordered, was it 12 hot dogs? Shane,
Yeah,
I don't
12.
know if you remember it better.
Yeah. So I think I was asking about the price of, like, I think it was, I asked the question about, like, if food or drink was included. And the guy said, like, you know, you order 12 hot dogs, which might be, I don't know, $24. I can't remember exactly what it was. Or if there's, say, 14 of you, you have to order 24 hot dogs. They only do mean 2 dozens, 12?
Yeah, a dozen.
They only do mean 12. So if there's only 14 of you, either 2 of you miss out, or you order the extra 10 hot dogs.
So yeah, it was some interesting and random facts that we found out. Then they take you around the Commissioners Club, I think it's called. Only $1 million a season if you want to go into the Commissioners Club. However, they did get quite excited to tell us that it does also host weddings and bar mitzvahs. So if anybody's looking for a bar mitzvah, you know where to go. And then we had
married at MetLife.
Yeah. Then we had the opportunity to go out onto the field. Now, we had to stick between the 20 and the 40-yard line because they'd just finished painting because the Dirty Jets were in there the night before. But luckily, they'd done all the painting overnight. So we switched. How many things was it? Was it like one? Is it a couple of hundred?
Yeah, 200 and something different things that they have to switch between games, isn't it?
Yeah, from merch to posters to all the
flags on the flagpoles around the stadium, all the banners around the field, everything. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Just for this picture that's on screen at the minute, I'm explaining here how are you missing from here. It's how far. For anyone who's listening to the audio, we probably stood on the 25-yard line.
Yeah, maybe
25-ish, and I'm
30, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the point where I was saying, how do you miss from here, 23. Or how do we not get a touchdown from this distance because it's how far?
I think this was just outside the red zone, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Shane was adamant that he could make a field goal every time.
Easy.
there could be something later that maybe proves his point or not.
Interesting.
We will see. While we're on the turf, we took full advantage. We made sure we got some pictures of us with our brand new flag. If anyone's eagle-eyed, the flag now has the X instead of the bird and the YouTube logo in the middle. The flag also has some added extras, which again are revealed later, and an extra little scribble or two. We also had the opportunity to sit down on the home bench, which we took full advantage of, despite the fact that it was the coldest thing I'd felt on my arse up until that point. It was absolutely horrible to sit on that bench, and no wonder they heat it on game day.
Kind of surprised me it was just made of fiberglass.
Yeah, there's like nothing to it, is there?
Just a big hunk of fiberglass, and it's so uncomfortable as well.
And then moving on, I had to add in this lovely little picture from Shane, the artistic beauty of MetLife right there, just captured up. As you can see, the end zones were kind of a little bit cordoned off, so there wasn't much we could do there. Now, boys, MetLife Stadium, as I've said, it takes a lot of flack for being one of the worst looking stadiums. However, we spoke about this and we didn't agree. What did you guys think of the tour and the overall kind of experience at MetLife that day, Shane?
Yeah, I mean, I get it looks boring from the outside in terms of picturesque. Like I said, it just looks like a massive air conditioning unit, like what you got on, your vents on your car kind of thing. That could do something with the outside, but I genuinely don't see the stick it kind of gets now. Whether it's because I've had the joys of going to Loftus Road and Brentford's old ground, and I've had the joys of Accrington Stanley away, and then you compare it to MetLife Stadium, there's a little bit of a difference there. But, I genuinely didn't think it was bad. I mean, from kind of the walk around we had, fantastic view no matter where you're sitting, it seems. And being on the field was amazing. I think we're all in agreement as well that the turf is shocking. The minute we stepped foot on it ourselves, all three of us just looked at each other and was like, holy shit, man, there's no give here whatsoever. And we understand why there's injuries as often as there is. And it did come up with a conversation with the tour guide about the turf and just some other stuff that was discussed as well, which I don't know if we're allowed to go into full detail, but obviously the stuff they were talking about, the World Cup coming to MetLife, some of the stuff they talked to us about, that was interesting as well. But, first ever NFL stadium I've been to in America, and I thought it was a fantastic stadium, and I don't really get the stick that it gets from some fans.
Shane, are you still finding the little black pieces of the turf in your shoes as well?
Yeah, I mean, I was planning on bringing some home, and then I picked some up, and I was like, I've got nowhere to store these, and lo and behold, I've brought some home in my trainers.
Dan, what about you?
Yeah, I think I've still got some of my trainers as well. I mean, I get the comments that are made about the stadium. Obviously, it's very generic. It doesn't feel like there's much in the way of sort of soul to the stadium.
There was no occurrence of the shoulder injury, despite some videos that might come up later.
Yeah, you're a bit sore on the morning after. Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, I get that it doesn't feel like as much of a sort of a soul about the place because obviously it's a shared stadium. Yeah, the seats are all grey. So it doesn't sort of particularly fill you with that Giants vibe. But from the outside, it doesn't look great. But the rest, the actual facility itself is fantastic. The things that the facilities that are there are top notch. The suites, the Commissioners Club is ridiculously nice. I mean, you expect it to be nice for $1 million a year. Even the press box. I mean, the press box. I mean, we know full well, but the view from there is outstanding. And yeah, there isn't really a bad seat in the house. Wherever you go in the stands, you're getting a really good view of the field. And you know what, as well, this MetLife tour, it's an absolute steal at $17 each. And I think it's available on select Saturdays during the year. But if you get the chance to do it, crack on and do it, because at the end of the day, if it gives you access to the field, so you get to go on the hallowed turf, or not really turf, it's kind of very plasticky and hard, But you get to go on the field, you get to have the tour around this fantastic facility, and I don't really get why it gets so much of a bad rap, to be honest.
No, I totally agree. You're right for the price and for what you get to do. We also did the MSG tour, and the MSG tour we got through the Go City app, which I highly recommend if anyone goes to New York and they want to do multiple things, because that really was a bit of a game changer. But I think the MSG tour was $38, $36. I'll have to look that up and confirm. But it was 30 minutes less, and I genuinely don't feel like we saw as much on the MSG tour. Now, obviously, on the day we went, the locker room access wasn't there, but for what we saw on the Giants tour and what we were able to do, absolutely done. Cannot agree more that 70
it was
still.
It was a 90-minute tour, wasn't it? So it was hour and a half, and it was a beautiful day. So it was well worth the money. Instantly, I did the Yankee Stadium tour a couple of days before, and I think I paid $35 for that, and it's an hour long. That's a great tour as well. If you get the chance to do it, if you're a Yankees fan, get the chance to do it. You get to go to on the field. You get to go to the Monument Park. If you're a Yankees fan, you know what Monument Park is, and it's a really, really good tour. But the access that the MetLife tour gives you was a lot more than what you could get MSG and also at Yankee Stadium as well. So, and cheaper. So, I thoroughly recommend it.
The only criticism I think I would have is the fact that, one, they were playing Christmas music, which meant that you couldn't hear the tour guides, which was a questionable decision. Now, I get that the Christmas music there was because there were still a lot of workers there. Maybe giving the tour guide like a portable speaker and a microphone might have worked a little bit better in that sense. But for that to be my only criticism, I think shows how good the tour itself is, because there is literally nothing else that I could say bad about it. So moving on to the evening of the Saturday, the afternoon was spent shopping in the American Dream Mall, or Dusty Roads as I've decided to nickname it from now on. Where we all spent copious amounts of money in lids. Shane got the bargain of the century, which he will explain when we show you some merch hauls later. And we all ate. He is wearing it now. We all ate at probably one of the most carnage food courts I've ever eaten at in America.
It's unreal, wasn't it?
And then what we did is we decided to get an Uber or a Lyft. I think it was a Lyft, wasn't it, that we got?
No, I think it was an Uber.
It was an Uber. So the Uber was a funny thing, because as we're booking it, there's two. That Reds is on Washington Avenue or Washington Street, is what he was saying. We just chose one and kind of went with it. After a 20-minute accidental tour of Karlstadt in New Jersey, we ended up in a random residential street with Christmas lights all around us, and we were looking at each other a little bit perplexed as the driver went, "Well, here you go, we're here." And I'm pretty sure I went, "No, we're not. We're definitely not.
Absolutely not."
But shout out to that Uber driver, because he was class. He said, "How far was it?" I said it was a 7-minute drive. He said, "Oh, just $7." We gave him 10 because we were really grateful that he was able to take us there. But we had a nice Christmassy tour around Jersey. Shane, I think Christmassy was the word you used to describe it, wasn't it?
Yeah, all I remember looking, like, as we're going past one street, there was just like lights lit up everywhere. I could read "Merry Christmas" backwards one way, and then facing me was "Season Greetings," and I was like, fair play, looks all right. We've got nothing like this round in West Brom and Wednesbury. Because they get robbed, but that's another conversation.
Just before I move on to actually Reds, Jazz Meats just kind of said, "What's up, guys?" I just want to give a massive shout out to Jazz Meat for one of the things we'll go through later. The Monday night what was it, holiday photo day, wasn't it, where Jasmine hooked us up with tickets for it. It was one of the best experiences of the whole weekend outside of game day. And, you know, as soon as he saw it, he sent it to us. He offered us tickets. Unfortunately, we weren't able to meet up with him. And I think that was probably our biggest regret of the whole weekend, was not being able to say thank you to him, because we really appreciate what he did for us. So massive thank you to you, mate. We'll be over next year. 100% we're going to meet up. We owe you whatever you want, drinks, food. We'll do it. We'll hook you up for merch. We'll hook you up, buddy, because we really, really do appreciate that. So on to the meetup. Reds was a cracking little bar, friendly staff, amazing beers on tap. And then after a few minutes, we're kind of there, all of us. And then we had Bobby from Talking Giants walk in with Isita and a couple of friends. Football Grump obviously turned up as well. We've been friends with him since the Packers game. Speaking to him was just like literally an old friend. He messaged us a couple of yesterday saying, we could have just talked for hours, and he wishes we could have just talked all day. And we feel the same. And then Ruben turned up, Ruben Vargas, with Francis Adames, which is his co-com on the Los Gigantes radio for the Giants. And then obviously we had Rob there, and Ruben had another person with him as well. We literally just spent hours in this little bar talking ball, talking podcasting, talking Giants. College, there was 4 or 5 college games going on at the time. We were all kind of watching college games out of the corner of our eye. I can't say I enjoyed the FSU Miami game too much, but FSU still won, so at least it was something, because it wasn't an entertaining match.
I think it's mad. Just on that picture that you had on then, sorry. Like, if you look at how many TV screens, there was a different college game on every single screen. There wasn't like 2 or 3 on the same one. They all had something different, and at times it was quite manic choosing which one to watch. And you've got to watch a little bit of everything. But like I said to you guys as well, like, it was just great. It was like 7 p.m., 8 p.m. of the evening, and we was watching college, and I was like, oh, it feels fantastic. Instead of it being like 2, 3 in the morning, I'm actually watching college ball at a normal hour.
I'm wondering if we should have a new section on the pod called Shane's in awe of USA, because there were so many moments where Shane would be like, I can't believe I'm doing this.
It's like,
how many different fast food places did we try, Shane?
Quite a few. I know I went to McDonald's 3 times.
We are indoctrinated, aren't we? And the nice thing about the meetup was that at the end we were able to get this picture of all of us with the flag. I really, really cannot kind of shout out Bobby from Talking Giants enough for everything that he's they did for us. They gave us shout outs on the pod before, invited people down. They gave us a shout out on the pod after. Ruben gave us a shout out as well. Those 2 guys have been 2 of the sort of biggest supporters of us. And to finally thank them kind of in person was amazing. I don't know if you guys have got anything else to add on the Reds front, Dan.
It's just a shame it had to come to an end, wasn't it? Because we had to get back to the hotel. Bear in mind, we were staying in Midtown Manhattan, so we needed to get back to get some sleep, to be up early, to get back there for game day the following morning. I just kind of wish it could have gone on longer, because I could have sat there and talked to these guys all night. Like Football Grump said, we could have just carried on and on and on and on. It was just a real chilled, relaxed evening, and it just felt like we were talking to friends that we'd known for years, just about football. And shout out to everyone that came down, because it was a great night. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and let's face it, the fact that we weren't paying city prices for beers as well definitely helped.
Yeah, we didn't have many city beers, but we noticed it when we did, didn't we?
Mate, $5 a pint of Reds compared to $10 a pint at the bar we went to on Thanksgiving. It's double the price in Midtown. But yeah, just amazing night.
So for the Saturday, that kind of wraps things up. So Shane, I'm going to throw it to you for what is next.
Yeah, so kind of once we the dust settled on Saturday, we had a nice early alarm set for Sunday because obviously we had to get over to MetLife. We got there via train and a taxi. So I think we have alarm set for like 6 in the morning. I think we was at the train station before 7 a.m. or something crazy. That's kind of like the kind of long day that we had to have. So we finally got to MetLife and we were going to meet Paul Duffy, who's the ambassador, and absolutely great guy, fantastic guy. Highly recommend if you are over there to get in touch with him, to tailgate with him beforehand. Once we found out what block he was in, we then started time working out where the blocks was, and it's not as easy as you think. I think was he F16 or G16 or something like that he was in, and for some reason they've decided to do it so they let us go forwards and then they lean back on each other and then go back again. And I think we spent about 15-20 minutes trying to work out where to actually go. But once we did, we met up with Paul, as I say, and also the Sons of Giants guys, and they were absolutely fantastic. Got there first thing. Do you want a beer? Yeah, never going to say no to beer. Then obviously the Jack Daniels fire shots came out about 9:30 in the morning. I made a tactical decision in passing on those, and I do not regret that in the slightest.
I warmed you up, mate. Warmed you up because it was Arctic that morning.
It did.
Freezing cold, and me and Craig can attest to how cold it was. Having to hold was it a bottle of beer? I think we had a can of beer with no gloves on, and we literally just kept changing hands every couple of minutes just to try and put one hand in the pocket, warm it up, swap hands again, and then repeat the other process because some dickhead chose not to take any gloves. That's this one, and I didn't buy any at any point. Craig also joined me in that category. But we got to meet them guys, absolute great guys. We gave Paul the flag that you can see on your screen now as well, just a gesture of thank you for the hospitality that he gave towards us. And there was some food on that we could have as well if we wanted. Then kind of a surprise to me. I don't know if you guys knew, but obviously Brandon came over. Didn't know if Brandon was planning on sort of swinging by there. It was just by chance that he was there as we were there. But Brandon London, Mark Stewart and his crew, thanks to them for the pictures. They gave us a giant Seattle Raddy Tails from the Seattle game earlier in the season, which appreciated for. Anytime you can get your hands on Giants merch, it's always appreciated, and if it's for free, even better. And then as if the Jack Daniels fire shots weren't enough, we then got tequila offered as well. Again, that's another one I gave a hard pass on. I was mindful of what we had coming up, and I went out Saturday night and they'd just gone, and I think I had 6 or 8 tequila shots and 5 sandwiches. I can't just have 1 or 2. If I'm going for it, I'm going for it. But I didn't want to turn up at the press box absolutely steaming and stinking of tequila.
So while you're on that, I do have the video of the shot. And the Giants chant that was beforehand. So
we always toast up to all our visiting friends. Thank you for coming out. And it's always going to be about New York Giants in the building. And we always say something around here. Jeremy, you want to kick it off? He ain't here. He ain't here. Then fuck it. You already know on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. It's all big and it's all blue. G-Man, woo! Salute! Yeah, let's go, Giants.
Not
beautiful.
A fan.
I mean, I don't mind tequila, to be honest with you, but what was it, 9:45 in the morning? It's a bit of a wake up call.
I think,
and it wasn't a small shot either. It was a shot.
Saying it was 10 o'clock was probably generous.
Yeah, I think it was like about 9:30, wasn't it? 9:30, 9:45, something like that.
But yeah, so after that, we then, we wanted to go see Bobby and Justin from Talking Giants, like Craig's already mentioned. We're very appreciative of the shout outs those guys give us, and Bobby came along on the Saturday night, and we just wanted to swing by just to, once again say thank you to them, and also just say, look, we'd been to the tailgate with them, and it's good to meet Justin in person as well. Both absolutely fantastic guys. If you don't listen to their podcast, you 100% recommend it. They know their stuff, and some of the breakdowns that they do is absolutely amazing. We got to have a picture with the flag again as well, and we're also able to give t-shirts to some of these guys, that we'd brought and took over just to show our appreciation for the shout outs they give us, and they're appreciative of having the shirts from us as well. If they use it just to clean the car, they're using the top, but hopefully they're going to be wearing it. But obviously, that was my excuse me, that was my first ever experience of a tailgate, to be honest with you. And it was amazing. We would have liked to spend a little bit longer tailgating and get to meet other people. There was quite a few people we didn't get the chance to meet because obviously we had to go off and do some other things. But how crazy was it to not only meet followers out there, but see how welcoming the rest of the Giants family were? So I don't know about you guys, but at no point did I feel like I was a foreigner from England that wasn't. This sport is not my first sport, and I personally felt very welcomed, and with open arms. And if I went back again next week, they'd do the same again. How did you guys kind of feel with that, Dan? If I ask you first.
I mean, it's in the answer's in the question, isn't it? It's a family. Not once, like you said, did you feel like you were out of place. Not once did you feel like you weren't welcome. And just, I mean, they're well known for the hospitality in the States. I know that, but it was genuinely, it just felt like a big extended family, and it was an absolute pleasure to spend. We were with Paul and his crew and the Sons of Giants for about 45 minutes to an hour, and then obviously going over to see Bobby and Justin at the Talking Giants tailgate as well. We were again over there for sort of maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. Just a joy and a pleasure to spend some time with them. I managed to sit down with Justin and give him a t-shirt and just had a quick chat with him, and what a top guy, absolutely top lad he is. And he congratulated us on what we've done so far, on how far we've come. And him and Bobby are huge supporters of ours, as we are of them. So we appreciate the love, and long may it continue. And massive huge shout out to the ambassador Paul, because and if you haven't been to a game and you're planning on going to a game either for the rest of the season or next season or whenever you go, get in touch with Paul. He'll welcome you with open arms into his tailgate, and he'll just be there and help you to have a as best a time as you possibly can, and to enjoy the sort of tailgating experience, because tailgating is part of football in the States. We don't really get it over here because of our different laws that we're not allowed to have open fires in car parks, and not allowed to cook things in car parks, and we're not allowed to give food out in car parks, and there's so many things we can't do in car parks that they can do in the States. So that's why the tailgating's a no-go here. But if we could have tailgating here, I absolutely would. But great morning we had, albeit it was a short one because of our other commitments. But fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to answer Steve's question, we did not get to see the G-Man band. The wives may have. I'm not sure. I haven't actually asked Anna.
I think we did.
Yeah. So once we kind of split off from them, they kind of went off and did their own thing. Just while we're on the topic of that, the lucky ladies decided that they would go and meet Eli and Sean O'Hara while we were doing our next obligations. So lucky them. They were able to do that, which is something we did not get to do.
Do you have the picture, Craig?
Of them with Eli?
Yeah.
I don't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Try and find it during a break in amongst this.
That's fine. Fine.
I'll put it up because it's pretty cool. They decided to try and troll us with a fake picture of a bobblehead, and then went, oh, actually this was the one we meant to send.
Yeah.
So
he was giving out free porridge, wasn't he?
He was giving out free cold porridge, apparently. But you guys have touched on obviously Paul and the Talking Giants. I just want to give a quick shout out again just to Brandon and to Mark Stewart. Brandon said to Mark, oh, this is the UK guys, and I'm not going to mimic his accent because I don't want to get cancelled. However, it was along the lines of, oh shit, these are the British guys. And instantly he was just high-fiving us all, talking to us all, got the shots on. You know, they were all just so welcoming. The only thing I will suggest is if you go, make sure you take some cash with you. The Talking Giants tailgate was free. However, normally it is paid for. And Paul's tailgate, I believe, was like $25 for all you can drink, all you can eat sort of thing. So well worth doing. Back to you, Shane.
Yeah, so once we kind of done our meetups, we then went to will call. Well, I think we went to 3 or 4 different will calls trying to find out where to go. And you know, obviously we haven't put anything out on Twitter because we'd known for a while that we've been in the process of trying to get access to the press box for a couple of months, to be honest with you. And I think we only finally got actual confirmation literally whilst we were in the air flying out to New York on the Wednesday. You know, we landed, turned our data on for our phones, and I don't think we could have got a better email to kind of welcome us to the USA and to New York than getting confirmation that we would be on press box. So I think we went to about 3 or 4 will calls at first. We finally got there, showed our ID, and luckily they were like, "Yep, no problem. Here's your pass." And you know, we got our media pass ID, had our photo on, our name and our podcast name on, which was a pretty cool moment. I bet you guys were just seeing that there. Big Blue UK Ireland was like, oh shit. And then we kind of had the joy of establishing what access the passes gave us. So me and Craig had made our way in. I don't know, Kevin, Dan, did you disappear to the toilet, or you went to do something, and me and Craig spoke to a woman and were like, oh, what does this give us access to? Because at this point we still didn't know what our media pass kind of gave us. And she said, oh, if you have a look at this chart over here, it shows you. So, you know, there was some little codes on there. I've not got mine. So I've not got mine to hand. I've got a photo of it, actually. Not that I'm there.
So just while Shane's looking that up, just to give you guys a kind of heads up, we're not allowed to show these media passes. It explicitly says it, that we can't show it. So unfortunately, we can't show you a picture of it. However, they are pretty class. I think in the whole video, there might be a small picture of it later, but we can't show you it full screen because we're not allowed.
No, we cannot. Sorry, listeners, viewers.
Obviously, with the media pass, so it's got 2023 media at the top, and it's got no in-game field, which obviously meant we had no in-game field access, which we didn't expect to have. That was absolutely fine. But then there was some codes on there. So we had PG and PB. So Papa Golf, Papa Bravo, VL and VI, Victor Lima, Victor India, and then HLHI, Hotel Lima, Hotel India. And me and Craig are looking at these codes, giving we ain't got a clue what this maybe gives us. So we're going to have a look at this chart. So Craig, you remember what PG and PB was? Was it pre?
So PG was Pepsi Gate, which is where the will call was, and PB was press box,
right?
Yeah. So then we look at the next one, VL and VI, and we find out this is access to the visitors' locker room and visitors' interview room. And then me and Craig kind of looked down and see the next one's a HL and HI, and we kind of like paused and looked at each other like, nah. And then we looked, it confirmed we had access to the whole locker room and the whole interview room. And then Dan and Kev come back, and you know, we kind of like we break the good news to them. Just so you know, we got locker room access, which, you know, kind of blew our minds. We genuinely didn't know if we would get that privilege. Like, as far as we were concerned, we got press pass box, we got media passes to go into the press box. Anything else from there on it was like a complete bonus and an absolute privilege. So, you know, we worked out, okay, for all that Bill Belichick has done in football, we didn't really have any interest in going into the visitors' locker room or visitors' interview room. So, you know, that was something that we kind of made a note on. And then, you know, kind of we said to the woman, where do we go later on? We've never been here before. And she pretty much just says, just go and have a walk round. Just walk and find where you need to go. And then it was quite surreal. We were kind of like walking underneath MetLife Stadium through all these access areas. and you're going through checkpoints, and no one actually sort of scans your pass, but obviously that can tell by the colour of the pass as to what access we've got and we haven't got. And even that was just mental, just walking around kind of unchallenged, like as if we were regulars, as if they knew us and that we were meant to be there. And we were looking for different things. We found the locker room. We couldn't find the interview room, so we kind of realised we'd hit a dead end and walked back. And then we were at the locker room, and there's a guy stood outside, and it was a case of, let's just ask him. So I was like, "Excuse me, mate, where's the interview room?" And I don't know why, but he picked up on our accent. It's like, it stood out a little.
I wonder why. Maybe because you asked him, Shane.
But we weren't the first, and it wouldn't be the last person who looked a little bit confused over my accent, which I'm sure will get covered at some point.
Yeah, Shine.
But the security guard on locker room duty for the Giants locker room. But unfortunately, I didn't get his name, and I don't think any of us really paid enough attention because we were in awe of what we were kind of doing and the access that we got. But I just want to give a massive shout out to him because he got chatting to us, and he literally just said to us, "Scan your locker room access now. If it comes up green, when you come down after the game, I just know your faces, and I'm happy to wave you in. You ain't got to worry about scanning it." So it was great chatting to him, and he was a proper, genuine, sound guy, very helpful. And eventually we kind of like, okay, let's go up to the press box then now, and we'll kind of see where we've got to go. So we went up to this press box again, just walking through, no one's challenging, and it's like, shit, is this really happening kind of thing? Because you expect to be challenged, and oh no, sorry, you can't get through there. But we never pushed the boundaries, and we went exactly where we were entitled to go. So we go up to press box, and we were just going to sit anywhere. We were like, should we just find a seat and see what we did? But then luckily we bumped into Ruben, and massive shout out to him. He points us to the seating chart, which you can see on your screen now. If you listen to the audio version, it's just a chart on the wall, basically telling you what row and what seat number you've got. And luckily Ruben pointed this out to us, because I think, for our first time there, we might have pissed a couple of people off if we just rocked up and just sat in someone else's seat. But
front row, yeah.
Again, it was another mental thing on this seating row to see our names and the podcast name as well. So yeah, we finally made up to our way to our seats, and it was mental. We had one of these little portfolios.
You've disappeared.
He doesn't like the portfolio. But yeah, we had this little portfolio, and it just had like all stats, how to pronounce players' names, activities, inactivities, a little bit of history between the Giants and the Pats game, which was a great little unplanned souvenir from that game, and something I'm going to be keeping very, very close and very safe, because it's just again another memory of an amazing trip. So we sat down, and it just happened to be on my left hand side. The Big Blue and the Bronx guys were sat by us, and they were sound lads. Spoke to them a little bit, and that was this is the view that you can see now that we had from our press box. But anyway, we sat there, and for Kev, Dan, and Craig, they know how much of a big fan I am of the Giants Insider podcast, and I've highly recommended it to everybody. And we look across, and we notice that Chris Bizignano from the Giants Insider podcast, and I was like, oh shit, there's Chris. Like, I'm a massive fan. Like, Chris is an absolutely fantastic guy. Like, just listening to the stuff he talks about in the on their podcast. Obviously, he gets access all the time to training and all the press duties, basically. And then just in front of him as well was some geezer called Mike Garafolo, who I believe breaks news every now and again on the NFL. That was pretty mental. Like, oh yeah, there's Mike Garafolo as well. But we went over to Chris Bizignano, because obviously we had him on the podcast. I think it was before the season started, and it was just a great opportunity to go over it and introduce ourselves. And Chris was everything I expected him to be, and probably more, in all honesty. Like, very friendly guy. Shook hands with him, had a quick chat about different things, and we were like, oh, we'll see you later, Chris. And Chris says, oh, come shout us back. He says, let's have a photo, and I'll put it up on Twitter. And he took this photo that you can see on your screen there with the four of us, posted it on his Twitter feed. We also gave two tops, one for him and one for Jerry, who Jerry Foley's also on the Giants Insider podcast. It's those two guys that kind of do it all, and obviously they've got a newspaper, they've got a couple of other people as well, but it's usually just Jerry and Chris that are on the podcast. And Chris says, "Was this your first time here?" And we were like, "Yeah, never been here before, never done anything like this or anything." And without asking, he just said, "I'll tell you what, guys. When we get near the 2-minute warning," he says, if the game's kind of dead and buried, I tend to get down to the locker room 2 minutes before. He says, if there's something on it, we might get down a little bit later, but I'll give you a nod, and then you can follow me down, and he just says basically we could follow him, and he'll show us where the places to be and whatnot, and he did do that kind of thing. I think I might have got the process mixed up a little bit there. I think that was when he called us back for the photo, but there's that much going through my mind. Some things might be confused as to the time they happened, but they did happen. That's the main thing. So I've got to give a massive shout out to Chris, because how friendly it was. It was like we'd known him years, like really, really friendly sound dude. And honestly, if you don't listen to the Giants Insider podcast, highly, highly recommend it, because some of the stuff that Chris finds out, because he has got contacts in the building, and he doesn't bullshit. Yeah, he doesn't say something that's not true. He'll only say things that he has genuinely heard. So massive shout out to Chris Bisgananoff on the Giants Insider podcast. And then it was time to grab some drinks, coffee, soft drinks, etc. And we settled into our seats and got ready for the game. So kind of that's everything up to kick off. Craig, what were your initial thoughts on getting into the press box and seeing the process of everything that goes on and all the different, beat writers that are there and everything?
It's a bit overwhelming, wasn't it? I think that's something that all four of us agreed with, is that, as you said, the process of getting the press passes were not easy. Not any fault of the Giants side, mainly just because we had no idea what we were doing. We were kind of sent a link to apply for it, and we had a bit of back and forth with one of the communications people with the Giants about how we were going to go, how why we were doing this and what it was, etc. And it really was a case of, up until we got there, we had no idea. Like I still feel like a couple of us, I don't want to speak for Kev, but I think Kev's probably of this mindset that we still had no idea if this was actually, like, we were still kidding ourselves a little bit until we went up to will call to get those passes. And it wasn't until you had the pass in your hand that you went, oh, this is happening. Like, we are going to do this. But it's very difficult to put into words, one, what it means, two, how I feel, and three, just how nice everybody was up there. The Big Blue in the Bronx guys, we follow them on Twitter. They follow us. They kind of recognized the logo and said hi to us, and they were just great. It was a very brief interaction, but they were great dudes. And just some of the stuff that happened, and we'll get into a little bit more of that as we go through the game day side of things. But there was a lot of surreal moments up in that press box where I don't, and again, this is another thing we've all said, I don't want this to be the last time that we do it. I'd like to do it again. I think even you, Shane, said that you would do this for a living quite happily. Like, just the experience was just next level. But I'll stop rambling and let Dan. It's so difficult to try and get your words out to it, because it's, yeah.
I get you. I mean, gamed up to that point, I think it was kind of hard to comprehend where we were, what was happening, and I hadn't even thought about what was going to happen in the next sort of 2 to 3 hours. Being in the press box was one of the most surreal experiences of my life. Never did I expect to be in that press box watching the game. Never did I expect to have a media pass around my neck. Never did I expect to have locker room access. Never did I expect to have press conference access. I've been everybody knows I've been a Giants fan for a long time, and this was just the absolute peak of my Giants fandom, because at the end of the day, I still am a Giants fan through and through. We all are. And the fact that we've got this crazy access just from doing this podcast is just mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. But yeah, the press box is really cool. Shout out to Biz. Nobody beats the Biz. Get on Giant Insider, because what him and Joe Fody is fantastic. Their podcast is a must listen every week if you don't listen to it. Ruben for showing us where the chart was.
That could have been dodgy, couldn't it?
Yeah, Big Ben, the Bronx guys for being so nice and welcoming. Just everybody in the press box. Nobody batted an eyelid. The fact that there was these 4 British guys, or 3 British and 1 Irish guy, just wandering around the press box looking like giddy children. Not a single person batted an eyelid, even like queuing up for like the food, like at halftime. Like nobody questioned our legitimacy. And that to me was just as mind-blowing as anything else. The fact that we were there legitimately. We hadn't sort of wangled our way in through the back door. So I mean, up to that point, press box was pretty epic for me.
I think I was going to say, I think like in some ways, in all honesty, I think all 4 of us, it's hard to put into words what we felt and experienced on that day. Like, no words will ever do it justice, in my opinion. And I think I said to either all 3 of you at one point or someone individually, I says, I've heard people say in the past, look, something happens in their life, whether it be the birth of their child or getting married, that no words can put how excited they are over what's just happened or do it any justice. And kind of that's how it feels with Sunday. I really be over in my head, and I'd happily do it as a job. Like, I wish I had that opportunity, because it'd be absolutely phenomenal job. But at the same time, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to fully put into words how we all felt on that Sunday, and the privilege, how privileged we felt as well.
It's impossible to put into words. To actually be able to say how we all felt. Like Kev said at the beginning, I pinched him while we were in the box, and was just like, is this actually happening? And I kind of had to do it to myself a few times, like pinch the back of my hands. I'm thinking, no, this is real. This is genuinely happening. So crazy experience. But for those that are listening on audio, this is the end of part 1. Part 2 will be coming up in a day or so, maybe. So make sure you tune in and listen to part 2, because we've got the rest of game day plus MetLife on the Monday at the holiday photo day coming up for you as well. So until next time, let's go Giants. For those that join us live on video, this is part 2. Welcome. Welcome back to the part 2 of this episode of the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast, always in association with Andy's Man Club. All right, we're going to carry on talking. Part 2 of our game day experience. Wow. We've got up to getting settled in, ready for the game. And now we're going to crack on and actually talk about the game itself. So obviously, pre-game, obviously had the player introductions. The offense were introduced to the field. The starting offense were introduced to the field. The Sopranos theme played for Tommy Cutlets. That was pretty epic, I must say. And the reception he got was louder than any other player on that offense, even Barkley, and which surprised me. But at the same time, it was quite nice, and I thought it was quite nice for the kid. And yeah, he deserves it. National anthem, obviously, you got the picture of the flag on the field. Everybody in the press box stood up, removed caps, obviously paid respects to the anthem, and then we obviously had the coin toss and kickoff as well. And no, we're not going to leave you hanging, Steve. Don't worry. We're still on. It's all good. Yeah. So obviously, up to kickoff itself, we were just sort of getting ourselves settled in, still acting like giddy children. Still couldn't believe that we were in the press box for the game. And just in awe of the view that we had of the field, because I mean, that is the view of the field we had right in front of you on the screen if you can't see it. For those that are listening on audio, it's one of the best views of the field at MetLife you'll ever see. So I fully recommend giving our video version a watch on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, first half kicks off. We're sort of getting settled in. Craig and Shane were looking after Twitter. I was looking after Facebook. Kev was helping all of us.
He was my stats guy.
Kev was your stats guy. There you go. I knew what Kev was doing something. I couldn't think of what it was though. He was doing stats, wasn't he? And yeah, just sort of getting settled in, sort of us reporting from the press box. It was like, this is mad. This is crazy. Giants free Wi-Fi access. This is crazy. And then I think it was end of the first quarter. I think you and Shane went to go to the loo. Me and Kev went to get a drink or something like that. So we sort of divided. There was two of us and two of us, or it might have been the other way around. I can't remember. But as we were sort of coming back up to, I think, yeah, me and Kev got on to get some to eat or a drink. And as we were coming back up to our seats, you and Shane came running down the seats with the biggest shit-eating grins on your face, saying, "We've been called to the booth. We've been called to the booth." And I was like, steaming hot coffee in my hand. I'm like, "Shit, drop the coffee. Let's go." And yeah, so we've been approached. Craig and Shane have been approached and asked if we were the guys from the UK, which obviously they said yes to. And they'd been told that Bob, Papa, and Carl Banks had asked us to go to the commentary booth to see them and meet them and see what they do. And when I say this trip was full of surreal experiences, I think this topped the lot. As the voice of the Giants, Bob Papa, Carl Banks, an absolute legend and a hero for many Giants fans, to see what they do, how they call a game, and just to stand there listening to them calling the game as well. And just this operation was so slick, so smooth. We were in there for the whole of the second quarter. I think it was well over an hour, and watched the game till halftime. Obviously had the Bobby Okereke interception, had the Isaiah Hodgins touchdown, and Bob even shouted us out live on WFAN as well, which was just crazy, just absolutely crazy. Have we got that clip, Craig?
We have.
We're going to keep it right here. Carl, it is with great pleasure we have here in the booth the best podcast for Giants fans throughout Europe. Big Blue UK and Ireland, and we got the guys here with us in the booth. We don't have a mic to give each of them, but awesome to have the guys here.
It is good to have you guys here, and they do a great job across all of Europe in bringing the Big Blue news, man. I've been on a few times. I think you've been on a guest of theirs as well, but guys, welcome.
Yeah, good to have you guys here. Wish we had a mic to pass around, but good to have you here. They do a great job. Obviously, the Giants have a huge international fan base, not only in Great Britain and Ireland, but in Germany. And these guys are here on Thanksgiving weekend. Fans to their feet, 3rd and 9 for the Patriots.
I mean, I don't know about you two, but I've got goosebumps.
It's hard not to have a big grin across your face listening to that.
How thankful were you that they didn't have microphones?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, mate.
All you've heard is...
if they'd have thrown a microphone around, thanks, Bob. Pleasure to be here, Bob. I don't know what I would have said. I'm very, very glad they didn't have microphones.
Or a video camera in there.
yeah. Because again, we were just there like in absolute awe. But I mean, the operation in the booth was like I said, was pretty slick to say the least. But out of all the bits we did on the Sunday, it's safe to say that's the highlight, right, Shane?
Absolutely. I mean, like I say, just listening to that back, it's hard not to have a smile and kind of just hearing seeing the podcast called out by them is like absolutely mental. Like, when they started a couple of years ago to being where we're at now, and the voice of the Giants, as you say, Dan, and also Carl Banks, who not a Hall of Famer yet, 100% is going to be a Hall of Famer at some point in the future. giving us shout outs was absolutely mental, and just watching it. And like you say, you know, we were in there for about an hour, I think it was, and we stood the whole time. And I could have stayed there for another 3 hours standing the whole time. Like, no, I was just that distracted by everything going on. I didn't care. I didn't have a seat. Like, it is quite tight in there and a little bit compact, and you know, maybe if you're claustrophobic, not ideal for you. But you know, it was absolutely incredible, and like I didn't want to leave it. You know, I think we only left really because we felt a little bit obliged. We didn't want to overstay our welcome, but you know, all 4 of us would have happily just stayed there if the chance had presented itself. And to be fair, I just want to add as well, that it's not like they were kicking us out. They weren't saying, "Are you leaving?" or anything like that. We just didn't want to overstay our welcome, so we left at half time.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure that's why we left, wasn't it, at half time? Because Bob and Carl left the booth to go in, get some food and stretch their legs, etc. We asked them both what t-shirt size they were, and we made sure we went and got them t-shirts. Very surreal moment for me running back after Carl to give him a t-shirt, and out the corner of my eye I see John Mara and Joe Shane just having a conversation, and I was just tunnel vision, just like, don't even look at them. Just, you're here to give t-shirts to Carl, and then you're going to go back to your seat and you're not going to speak of this. So
thinking, don't fanboy it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Don't go over enough for John Mara a t-shirt. But no, you're right. It's easily the highlight. It really is. Like, nothing comes close. We've listened to Bob and Carl do commentary for years. To be stood behind them and just to see the operation, you know, the spotter that that Bob has, next to him, who tells him which running back's in, who makes the tackle, who makes the catch, where the body part that they've tackled them, if the ball hits them, where the body part hits, you know, what body part the ball's hit them on. If they've done a juke move, he has a kind of, you know, hand signal to show that. And then the guy next to him who's doing all the stats and tallying all the yards, and when Bob's doing, you know, a little spiel, he's got, you know, it's just incredible to watch how slick the operation is, and it kind of gives you almost a peek behind the curtain, not only at what they do at the Giants, but also, you know, commentary as a whole, and whether other sports probably have something very similar, where they have somebody pointing at players on a sheet to kind of give them that instantaneous reaction as to who it is who's done it, sort of thing. It was an absolute pleasure and an honor to watch, and just unbelievable, just ridiculous.
Yeah, like you said, Shane, I could have stayed in there for the rest of the game. It was quite tight in there, and there was times I thought, I'm just getting in their way, you know. Especially I was stood right behind Carl, and you know, no disrespect, but Carl was a big man. And so it did feel a little bit tight in there at times, but yeah, just words can't explain how grateful and how privileged we were to get to see that. Because I doubt there's too many people out there that have managed to see it. So you know, it was an absolute privilege and an honor for us to be in there, even for us just being there for 5 minutes, and they go, right, see that, guys, time to leave. But the fact they just come in, chill out, watch the game with us, and the fact that at no point did they make it known that they wanted us to leave. Like you said, it got to half time, and we thought, yeah, all right, we should probably go back to our seats now. You know, let them have some space and finish calling the rest of the game. But yeah, mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing. And then obviously, half time, which meant our first taste of press box catering. And in all honesty, it didn't disappoint. I mean, there's the MetLife catering's not exactly got a fantastic reputation, but those chicken tenders, they were absolutely banging, weren't they, Shane?
Oh, 100%. So I'd love to have gone up for seconds if I'd have got the opportunity to. And to be fair, when I got a cookie as well, and Dan was like, "Oh, I'm going to go and get me a cookie." I was like, "Oh, I'll come with you." And then me and Dan turned around and see that there's a sweet jar there, and they've got Skittles as well. It was like, yeah, we're getting some sweets as well while we're at it.
Hell yeah. Just a massive bowl of Skittles, massive bowl of gummy bears,
M&Ms.
M&Ms, Hershey's Kisses. They had candy floss. If you want some candy floss, why not? And yeah, cookies, or you can drink coffee, or you can drink soft drinks. They had obviously bags of crisps. They had big fat deli sandwiches, like you can see there on the screen as well. I think that was yours, Craig, wasn't it?
Waffle fries or waffle chips, is that what I'm called?
Yeah, waffle fries. Yeah,
them were pretty banging. I'd never had them before, and like absolutely top. Considering like I've heard a lot of people say that the catering at the MetLife is pretty rubbish, and the Jets have got the best part of it all, and that it's pretty good. But I do think, was it someone said they overheard somebody saying that it must change every week because they overheard a beat reporter saying, "Oh, we got chicken tenders today."
Yeah. I heard someone go, "Oh, we got tenders today," and I heard someone like sort of, "Yes, we've got something good for once." So obviously, the chicken tenders are the one of the good things they get. But now food was pretty good, and the fact that we didn't have to pay for it was even better. Tastes even better when it's free. So yeah, back into our seats in the press box. The second half began. Watched the remainder of the game from there, taking photos, tweeting updates, putting updates on Facebook. Just generally sort of on the socials, watching the game. And the cool thing about the press box is obviously the game is going on in front, so you got a live view of the game, and you got monitors up in the corner. And obviously on TV, it's on about a 5 to 10 second delay. So then you watch the play live on the field, you then watch the monitor, and you watch the play on the monitor afterwards as well, and just so you can sort of see the details of each play, sort of thing, which is really cool. I knew there would have been some sort of delay, but the fact that they have the live on the field play, and then get it replayed to them after sort of 5 to 10 seconds, and also after every single play, there is a commentary of that play that comes out over the tannoy system. And I don't know how many times we heard number 64 was reporting as eligible, but Jesus Christ, we heard that so many times. Number 64 is reported as an eligible receiver. It's like, oh, he's actually going to catch the ball? No, he's not. no, he's not.
That was the annoying thing. He never caught one fucking ball. It was like, oh, if you're going to do it, use it. Like, make it worthwhile.
I think there's at least 20 times he reported as an eligible receiver, wasn't it? But again, it comes over the tannoy in the press box, so these guys can be writing it down. The play-by-play, guys for the work for ESPN, or obviously for NFL.com as well. They're going to be in the press box somewhere. So they're doing the play-by-play. It helps them as well. So that's how they can sort of tweet it and put it out online and stuff so quickly after the play happens, is because you get all the information you need within 10 seconds. So from within 10 seconds of the play happening, it can be put out there live online for everybody to see what's happened. So it's a great setup in there, I must admit. And then, sort of the game got into the fourth quarter. It's 10-7 game. Fully expected it to go to overtime because we had the field goal attempt right at the end with the Patriots. But it went wide left, and the game ended. We sort of sat there, like, obviously with what Biz had said to us before, like if 2-minute warning comes and it's a close game, we'll sort of stay up in the box. If it's a done deal, then we'll sort of make our way down to the press conference area. Obviously, we stayed right to the final whistle, obviously, till the field goal went wide left, and then it was a case of, right, game's over, and jump up, run. It's like, here we go. Grab whatever you needed to grab, and off to the press conference we went. And I think this is it.
I was going to say, I think as well, it like at this point in time when that field goal is about to be kicked, unless you backed overtime or the game to be won in overtime, I think us four might have been the only people that wanted the Patriots to drill that just so we could stay in the box for, like, say, another 15, 20 minutes. That's how much fun we had. Like, it was a dire game, and nobody even just generic NFL fans were saying this is one of the worst games ever. But we were like, oh, drill it just so we can have another 15 minutes. Go on.
Yeah, that would have been epic. Would have loved to have sat in there even longer, for sure. But yeah, game finished. Giants win 10-7. Get in. and yeah, off to the press conferences, and we all sort of shuffled into the room. As you can see on the screen, there was a few reporters in there, and this is probably the only time I did feel a little bit out of place in terms of the fact that we're not reporters, the fact that we're not like really members of the media. You know, we had like all the big players in the media. You know, Jordan Rana stood to my right hand side, literally sort of a stone's throw away from me. Obviously Dan Duggan and what's her name? Is it Charlotte?
Charlotte Carroll.
Yeah, from the Athletic were in there. Obviously Biz was in there. There were just some of the real big players in NFL media in there, and it did sort of feel like we were a little bit out of place. What do you guys think?
I think for me, it's probably when I seen is it Kim Jones like on the front row, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit, that's the bird off the NFL," and that was when I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit, I'm in a privileged position right now." Like,
Yeah. Patricia Traynor was in there.
yeah,
it was
like, it was kind of like we're like these people, but we're not like these people.
Yeah, like I said, these big names in media, in NFL media and Giants media, and it sort of like felt like, wait, should we be in here? But you know, it was again the access we had was unbelievable, and the fact that, I mean, we were in the post game press conference with Coach Dable was again another sort of mind blowing experience. And you know, on the way down there, we saw the coaches running off to go to the locker room. Saw Joe Shane, Mike Kafka, and a few of the other offensive coaches and special teams coaches as well. In the lift, we were with Art Stapleton, I said Dan Duggan, Biz, Charlotte, Jordan, all just in one lift together. It was like, well, this is weird. And then went straight into the press conference and waited for Dabes, and in comes Dabes. And I thought, one of us has got to ask a question. One of us has to. And I thought, I'm going to step up. I'm taking one.
How good does it feel to go into the bye on the back of 2 wins?
One more time, sorry.
How good does it feel to go into the bye week on the back of 2 wins?
It feels good. Yeah, feels better than the alternative.
That went out on live national TV. You're welcome. You're welcome. It's a simple question. He probably, the fact that he probably didn't know who the hell I was, but I couldn't resist the opportunity of asking him a question because we're in a post-game press conference, for God's sake. So I thought, sod it, why not? And it was sort of going on the topic of the bye week and things. So I thought, good time for it. There we go. But yeah, he definitely wasn't expecting the accent, was he? Because
No.
he was like, one more time. And even then, even then, when I said it a second time, I still don't think he was quite sure about what I said, but I think he got the gist of it.
Yeah. As Steve said, he weren't expecting it, and I don't know if maybe part of him was thinking, "Am I being punked here?" Because like, you just look like, what, one more time, like thinking someone's having me on here.
Like, who the fuck is this guy? And why is he asking me a question? But you got to take the chance when you get it, right? And I thought, I can't not turn the opportunity down. So yeah, threw that question out to him, and then just sort of sat there with a massive grin on my face for the rest of the press conference. Because yeah, but again, that press conference, I mean, it went on for what, 10-15 minutes. Yeah, you're not wrong, Steve.
It probably was for the best.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
I was banned. That's what no one's telling you. I was banned from speaking a question. You get into the conference room and they ask you to speak, and they asked me, and they went, "Nah, you're not saying anything, mate."
He wasn't banned at all. But yeah, it would have been interesting to see Coach's face having Shane asking a question, because he wouldn't have had a clue. But yeah, just again, the access that we had into that press conference was unbelievable. And to hear Coach talk so candidly about what happened with him and Wink, and just essentially just completely blow up that rumor that there's issues between him and Wink, and the only thing they argue about is pizza. It says a lot, but that was a probably one of the other sort of top highlights for me for that day. And then obviously after his press conference, we then made our way to the home locker room. And as we were sort of walking there, several players were leaving. Dan Bellinger was one of them. Who else was leaving? I can't remember who else was leaving. Aziz, Isaiah Hodgins, yeah. A few players were on their way up. Yep. And all sort of in their civvies off home. We get into the locker room, and again we're like kids at Christmas. We're like, oh my god, we're in the locker room. And again, this was just a completely surreal moment, because again, you see this on TV, like locker room interviews, and never ever did I think I'd ever be in that locker room whilst these interviews are going on.
I know we've got a few of the different things to go through, but I thought we'd just play one of the interviews now. Might be something that people have seen, but at least it gives them an idea of how close we bloody were before we speak about all the other bits.
Keeps it open for him. He's always asking me, X, Bobby, McCain, different better guys on the team, what we're seeing, what we like on game day. So I think he does a great job just keeping open line of communication.
Bobby, not to take anything away from the performance today, but without Dexter, how much did the defense change, and did the Patriots do anything different for you guys?
We knew without Dex, we always had to step up, stop the run. We try to get ourselves more favorable calls to stop the run, more single high, get those sitting in the box. I just thought we did a really good job basically for our DBs. They give us a lot of flexibility because we can load the box and stop the run. We can just jump up, command coverage, zero coverage. It's great execution. I did. Everyone's telling me I got to go back and work on my return, go watch the film. I thought I was going to come back and cut back and then cut back across the face. I find it quite football.
Giants runs and so had year one we're thinking like the best players like Fox and Birds and Tony Sanchez. How have you had such a big impact as a player?
I think it just speaks to the leadership that's already been here since I got here. I really just got to come in seamlessly do my job. Be a vocal leader, be a guy who's going to excel with small details in his position. And I'm just feeding off the guys in this locker room, Saquon, X, Dexter, great leadership. So I'm just really proud of that.
Is there something true to having a nose in the ball? Or do you just, you have interceptions, you have first fumbles. Is there something to that? Or is that just a hot streak?
No, for sure. Instincts are a big part of this game. And I think Rick does a really good job of playing.
Yeah, that was Bobby Okereke's little interview there at his locker, and yeah, that's how close we were to them. I mean, that video is a non-zoomed in video of him. We were literally sort of stood around the outside of his locker. Same with the picture on screen with Jalen Hyatt as well. When we got into the locker room, there was quite a few reporters talking to him because obviously he had his first 100-yard game of the season. His Giants' first 100-yard receiver of the season as well, so he had a really big game for the team. And when we, as we walked into the locker room, we sort of all just sort of stood there in awe for a few seconds. But producer Craig, ever sort of thinking on his feet, saw Jamie Gillan and hot-footed it over to him quickly. Here he is, producer Craig's back. Just talking about you hot-footing over to Jamie Gillan, mate.
Speaking of hot-footing, I had to go to the loo there. God damn.
How dare you? Jamie Gillan, mate. That was talk to us about that.
Yeah, it just kind of felt like because he's Scottish and obviously being the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast, it just felt right to speak to him, and he just happened to be walking past me. He wasn't in a towel like some of the others. He was fully clothed. And I just thought I'd introduce us to him. We're big kind of supporters of special teams players here. And we kind of believe that every player deserves to have a voice on podcasts like this, which is why we had Casey on. And we just said to him that we'd love to have him on at some point, not only because of the position he plays and how interesting, speaking to him would be, but also because of the fact that he is from our neck of the woods. So, a bit surreal. I'm not quite sure my mouth thought as quick as my brain did in the terms of doing it. I just kind of just went, "Hi, Jamie." So it was very much a spontaneous kind of reaction, but what a nice guy, absolute gent. Watch his space. Hopefully, we'll be able to sort that out. He's given us a few pointers.
Yeah, man. I mean, he probably wasn't expecting anybody to talk to him, because he was just sort of strolling through the locker room, wasn't he? He wasn't expecting anyone to talk to him, but yeah, great shout. And hopefully we can get him on at some point, probably in the off season, I'd imagine. But that'd be great to get him on. And then also straight off the sofa, Mr. Justin Pugh. I mean, said hello to all of us, recognised us straight away as well, which was like mind blowing. Evening, Justin, if you're watching. And then we obviously then got to listen to Kayvon Thibodeau's interview, and obviously Bobby Okereke's, as you saw earlier as well. Just sort of just hang around in the locker room for a bit, even though it sounds a bit weird. It's the locker room after all, and there were Sebi, if not fully naked men in there, but hey, it's a locker room. What'd you expect? But just an incredible experience to see these guys sort of post game and get their reaction, sort of. And Nacho was stood there for quite a while chatting, wasn't he? And his one thing that would stand out for me is his bright pink cap that he had. Fair play to him, because that was a look.
He had it was like a multicolored like tracksuit, bright pink cap, grills. He is not a quiet man. He is exactly how you would imagine him to be. Also, Tay Banks was like hyping himself up, wasn't he, at his locker?
Yep.
It was quite interesting to see. And then we saw Dabes come in and kind of put an arm around Tibbs and Hyatt, I want to say. So it was interesting to just have like these little pockets of interactivity between people and seeing people that you didn't expect.
No, and I think at the beginning of the day, none of us expected to be stood in the home team locker room after the game. I mean, obviously we did have visitors locker room and visitors interview access if we wanted it. Obviously, we're not affiliated to the Patriots in any way, shape, or form. We are not media members, so I think it would have been even weirder going into the Patriots post-game press conference. But at the same time, it's kind of like I felt on the day like opportunity missed, maybe, that to be able to ask Bill Belichick a question, one of the greatest coaches of all time. But I thought, nah, I'm happy with just sticking with the Giants. I'm fine. It's all good with me.
All you would have got is we're on to next week anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, he probably would have looked at me as if to say, "The fuck are you saying?" And who the hell are you? So I don't feel like I missed out on too much there. But yeah, once the locker room had emptied out a little bit, we headed back up to the press box to soak it all in for one last time, and before we gathered our things up and made our way out of there. But when we got back up to the press box afterwards, it was kind of like we just sort of sat there for a couple of minutes, took it all in, took a big sort of just let the day soak in. Obviously we spoke to Biz, spoke to Ruben, Jordan. We had a quick chat with Jordan Ranan, and obviously out at Stapleton as well. And yeah, collected our stuff and proceeded to the exit. And as we were getting out of the lift to come out of the press entrance, Dan Duggan was getting into the lift. So obviously we've had Dan on this show before, so I had a quick chat to him, and then left MetLife. And it was sad walking out of those doors and not having that view in front of us anymore. But it was just, I mean, what a day! I mean, the second half absolutely flew by. The whole post game experience was a bit of a whirlwind. For me, the experience was, I can't put it into words. It was beyond incredible. That's really all I can say. My standout moment outside of that being in the booth with Papa and Banks was asking Dave that question in the presser, to be honest, because it's not often you can sit in the post-game press conference and ask the head coach a question. So that was my standout moment. But what was yours, Craig?
I'm not really sure. There were so many there. It's so difficult to look at everything else because it's just so much of a blur, and like it all just kind of melds into one. I'll go with the locker room. I think just being in the locker room, listening to the interviews, even though none of us asked a question, we just kind of, kind of hung around the background. That was pretty cool. Maybe Justin recognizing us and actually having a conversation with us and just taking time out of his day, just even for the 30 seconds that he spent with us was cool. He didn't need to do that. And it just kind of shows the guy he is, and the fact that he hadn't forgotten that he had been on the podcast, etc.
What about you, Shane?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have been tempted to go with the locker room as well, but I think for me, it's probably how welcomed we were meant to feel. Like, we're four guys from across the pond, and not saying anyone's ever said it, but there's obviously a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek thing about, obviously, like, Brits don't know American football and American people don't really know soccer that well. And like, kind of no one ever looked at us that way. Like, we were talking quietly in the press box. We're not like, we didn't want to get kicked out, or it was important for us to make a good impression. That was one of the key things for me. Like, we kind of spoke to each other quietly, almost whispering. But when people did hear us or did see us, everyone spoke to us. Nobody turned their nose up at us. Like, no one looked down at us as if we didn't belong there. Whether it was, when we were in the press box talking, when we were in the interview room waiting for Daves to come in, when we were in the locker room, no one ever looked at us and said, like, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" And I just think, like, the way we're meant to feel welcome probably just made us, I don't get speaking for all of us, but made us feel a little bit more at ease. Like, okay, yeah, this is good. We're meant to be here. No one's got a problem with us. It's not a case of us versus you or anything. And I just, like, I'll just forever be so appreciative of the way everybody we've mentioned was towards us. Bees, Ruben, Jordan, Art, Dan, all of them were just absolutely fantastic. And the other thing to say as well, that Jordan actually approached us, like, he as we were getting ready to leave, he came over. He's like, "Oh, is this your first time here?" And Jordan didn't have to do that. Like, he could have just sort of carried on to his seat, not said anything to us. We wouldn't have been offended or took anything wrong, but he didn't. He did take that little 30 seconds out, and it means a lot for those people to just take that 30 seconds, 1 minute out of their life, whether it's a beat reporter like Bees and Jordan and Ruben, or whether it's a player like Jamie talking to Craig, or Justin speaking to all of us. And those little interactions just made us feel like we were meant to be there. And at times we did feel like we were winging it a little bit, but the reaction that we got from everybody just kind of reassured us that you might feel like you're winging it, but you're not.
I mean, there was definitely times in that day I felt like I was winging it, but like we said, it just makes us feel like we legitimately belong there. And there's so much I'm going to take away from that day. And I mean, there's not really much more else I can say about it. It's the fact that we've been talking about it for however long we have been. It's just, let's bring back little things. I think, oh my God, yeah, that happened. And oh my God, yeah, that happened, because so much happened that it just all sort of merged into one big day, and then you bring back these little details, and it's like, oh yeah. But rounding out the game day, though, I just wanted to say, none of this game day experience for the four of us would have been possible if it wasn't for two people, and that's Carl Banks and Bob Papa. Craig and Shane were lucky enough to be on the Believe in Giants podcast. Was it last year after the London game?
Yeah, it was just before the Philly game where people were saying, it was after the Colts game, between the Colts game and the Philly game, when people were saying, should we rest our starters? That's when they invited us on.
That was it. So, yeah, obviously they're Believe in Giants podcast. If you don't listen to it, fully recommend it. Give it a listen. But yeah, you two are lucky enough to be on there last year. And I'll never forget the moment that they invited us to come to a game and to come into the booth as well to see what they do. And part of me at the time thought, it's just a fleeting invite. It won't happen. Even sort of up to the game day, on game day, we were sat in the press box like, anybody heard anything from Bob about going in the booth, sort of, and none of us had. And then when the lady come to find us, and it all just sort of became real, and it was like, wow, okay, he's actually remembered. Like, we didn't have to message him or anything. He's like remembered that we were coming to this game, and him and Carl invited us into the booth for the game, or for part of the game, to experience what they do. And for Giants fans out there, Bob Papa is the voice of the Giants. Carl Banks, Giants legend, and like Shane said earlier, will rightly be in the Hall of Fame very soon. For those two to be so welcoming and friendly and just all round amazing guys, thank you so much. And we appreciate it like you wouldn't believe. And the fact that they've said to us as well, like, we're welcome to go back at any time we want. It's mind blowing. It really is. So if it wasn't for those two, say again.
Is anyone doing anything next Monday?
No, I'm not. I am working, unfortunately. I'm sure it's fine. Quick flight over, yeah. But no, just a huge, massive. I mean, I can't thank you enough. But thank you to Bob and to Carl for allowing us to experience that on game day, because it was incredible, beyond incredible. And we haven't. That's not even it yet. That's not even all.
No,
Monday. That wasn't the time. That wasn't our last time at MetLife, was it? On Sunday.
No, we'll fly through. We'll try and fly through the rest, because
we will.
We've been speaking for an hour and 40 minutes already. And just to caveat something that Dan had said, at no point did we not think Carl and Bob were going to come through with their invitation to the booth. It was just a case of not knowing what the plans were, etc. When we hadn't heard from them. But Monday, MetLife Monday, holiday photo day. Beautiful artistic photo of Shane there in front of MetLife. We were back for the third day in a row.
It just that is unplanned. That wasn't me going to Craig. I'm just going to have a photo.
No.
Yeah, likely story.
I just noticed that Shane was walking in front and there was nobody around, and I was just like, this would be a pretty sick photo. So, holiday photo day. Massive thank you once again. We gave him a shout out earlier, but Giant Sing Jazz Meet absolutely hooked us up with these tickets. We had no idea what we were getting ourselves in for, other than that there was going to be photographers there and we could go on the field again, and there was 30% off at the store. That was all we were going for. The day before, we got an email saying a few more things, like a couple of legends who were there who may or may not have signed things, but it was ridiculous. So first call, Shane, the jersey selection was poor, wasn't it?
I mean, you've got one of your favourite players there, Shane. Come on, you can't dispute that.
Honestly, I've not stopped washing my hands since that photo. But no,
there was 30% off in the store, everything except jerseys.
But when you go into I don't mean this is going to sound really bad, Ned. When you go into a store and most jerseys they've got is 73 Evan Neal and 19 Kenny Golladay, kind of gives you the impression this isn't going to have as many jerseys as I thought. And to be fair, like the jersey section was just like a little bit poor, what I kind of expected. There was no discount on the jerseys anyway, but there just wasn't much of a choice, and they were all like 2 and 3 XLs. Like I'm a small or a medium. So yeah, the jersey option was disappointing, and I did not ask for this photo to be taken. I got bullied into having a photo.
Lies. Lies. Absolute lies.
Listeners know the truth. Listeners know the truth.
Exactly.
As for the rest of the store, though, it was phenomenal. The amount of stuff that they had, we all spent a hell of a lot of money. We've all got haul videos now. Not all of these things were purchased in the store. I think I bought 5-6 things. I think you guys bought about the same amount. I think we all spent a similar amount. So I've gone rogue there. My haul first, which is there. As you can see, the Giants jacket on the right, which was the biggest bargain in the world. And then just a myriad of unbelievable, and just a myriad of towels and T-shirts and posters and flags and a massive fleece in the background. The ball there with the MY was definitely used and has bits of MetLife turf markings on it, and was thankfully deflated by the NBA store on Fifth Avenue, so I could get it home with me without taking up a copious amount of room in my luggage. But yeah, that is a big selection. As you may see, there is a Knicks hat and a Knicks t-shirt there. We did have the opportunity to go to MSG to watch the Knicks, and I think we all kind of fell in love with Madison Square Garden, and really enjoyed watching the Knicks play, to the point where even Anna went out and bought herself a jumper, and never in a million years expected her reaction. Dan, you said Kate was the same, like really enjoyed.
Yeah, she loved it. She loved it. I mean, she's liked basketball for a little while anyway, and she's got a Knicks jumper from when we been to New York before. But yeah, she loved the game day experience at Madison Square Garden. It's hard not to, really. Knicks at the Garden, huge tick in the bucket list. For me, I know as much as you guys probably was as well. But yeah, great experience at the Garden.
So Dan, you're up next, I believe.
Yeah.
Just a couple of bits.
Yeah, just a bit. So yeah, there was a few bits I bought from the store on holiday photo day. The biggest purchase being the Sherpa jacket you can see at the top. It is a giant Sherpa jacket, believe it or not. It's just got a giant sort of hatch on the chest here, and a little bit of embroidery here. But I saw it literally, we walked into the store, I saw it, I picked it up off the hanger, and I hung it over my arm and said, I'm buying it, because I love a Sherpa jacket. And what else did I get from there? So the Giants t-shirt below that, I got from the store, and there was a few other bits as well. Shot glass.
Yearbook.
The yearbook, yeah. So I think, yeah, yearbook was from the store as well. Obviously the salute to service scarf along the side, we got that on game. We all got one of those on game day. They're giving that out free when we entered. Yep. There is a snow globe as well somewhere there that we all got a snow globe each, because got on this holiday photo day. What else did I get from the store? There was a few other bits I got as well. A Christmas tree ornament I got, which is there somewhere. Again, I can't remember where. And yeah, spent a fair bit of money in that store.
And then finally, Shane.
Yeah, so kind of half of this is probably purchased from the Giant store, half of it is not. So the items that was purchased at the Giant store, I'll just go over first. So you got the retro mini Giants helmet at the top of the screen in the middle. Everyone knows I love a little bit of retro, huge fan of retro football shirts, etc. So I got that, and then lo and behold, I had something to get signed by somebody potentially. Who knew that would happen? I also brought the Giants t-shirt on the second row to the right hand side that's got the American flag into it. And the snow globe that Dan's referring, you can kind of see just on the left-hand side next to that plaque, which is something else I brought as well. Again, it's retro related. It's got the Giants jerseys over the years, so to speak. Also got a Giants yearbook. And I think that was all my purchase from the stadium. The 2 woolly hats at the top, they were purchased on Black Friday when me and Craig decided to go to Macy's. Just me and Craig went first thing in the morning, and we were just, we'll see what it is. And then me and Craig brought some items and decided we needed to tactically withdraw ourselves from Macy's, or it would have got very expensive very quickly. Both of those priced at $32 and $33 each, and the Black Friday deal that was $15 each. I bought the Barkley jersey from the Barkley t-shirt. You can see from there as well. I can't remember what I brought that with, but they had a buy one get one 50% off, which I then used for the average.
Yeah, it was the cup at the bottom. The same tumbler the eagle-eyed viewers might have seen in my picture and in Dan's picture as well,
which I've been drinking out of tonight during this podcast. So yeah. I got the Barkley top, and then the tumbler. One of them was buy one get the other 150% off. A trip to Leeds. I think I went back to Macy's actually a few days later, and I got the Aaron Judge and the Rangers tops. I also brought me the Barrett top as well, and then the Penn State hoodie, which I'm wearing now, was priced up at $69 or $79. That was when I was at Leeds at American Dream, and I walked out. I was like, nah, there's nothing that really takes my fancy. I don't want to get spending my money, mindful we've got MetLife on Monday night. And I just happened to glance outside Leeds, and I seen a sign that said NCAA hoodies, $20. And I was like, what? Say that again? And I told Craig, and Craig turns round, and it's gone off the screen. And I must have waited there for about 10 minutes, Craig, waiting for the advert to come back. So I was like, that is $20. I am going in there to get it. And I went in it come up $20. I was like, I'm having that. Went in the store, grabbed it, asked the store. They're like, now it's $69.99. They're like, we can scan it through if you want us to, though. I was like, yeah, because outside it says it's $20. Told it, scans it through, it's $20. I was like, this is not leaving my possession now. And then kind of went back outside, told, and they all went hunting for potential hoodies of their relative teams. The selection wasn't great in all fairness, but you know, for $20 for something that should have been $70, there was absolutely no way I was going to turn it down. And I think that is kind of pretty much all my merch stuff. Obviously, there you can see the Seattle rally towel that I mentioned earlier on that the guys gave us at the tailgate, and then also we got a free rally towel when we went into the Knicks game as well, which says New York forever on it.
So there we go. A lot of money.
Love the merch.
A lot of money. That's not even.
I know. I realized this. I realized this morning as well. There's a T-shirt missing from my picture.
Oh, there's a few things missing from mine. Yeah. Too much merch. Then it was time to meet the special guests. You cannot see them there because our bodies are in the way.
We're in the way. Yeah,
we are kind of in the way. However, Ahmed Bradshaw, Hakeem Nicks, both there. Both were just really humble guys. Signed Shane's mini Giants helmet that he bought. He also signed they both signed the flag, which is currently behind me there. You probably can't see it very well, but you may see it in future podcasts. And then the 2 business cards as well that Dan happened to have on him. They took business cards as well, didn't they? They took one each. We made sure
each a business card.
And then after we did that, they were giving away free donuts, free Dunkin' Donuts and coffee. As you can see from the picture here, they had quite a lot of boxes back there. So quite a lot of free donuts to give away. Unfortunately, that Gatorade bin is not filled with Gatorade. It was filled with water. Massive disappointment.
Was so disappointed.
Yeah.
It was so tempted to pick it up and give someone a Gatorade shower, though.
Yeah, I'm sure that would have gone down a treat. So after that, the next stop really was to go down onto the field to throw a few passes. We're going to start off on a controversial note. There's Shane throwing the football. First time you'd ever thrown an American football, Shane? Not that picture, obviously, but while we were out there. Yeah. Shane, was this a catch?
Yeah. Look the photo evidence. Caught
Dan, was it a catch?
Brought it in possession.
No. Incomplete.
We have to give all evidence.
I mean, how you let that slip through your hands, mate? I'll never know. I think I called you Evan England, didn't I?
Yeah, so we just had a blast on the field, just sort of throwing the football around
in the corner of the end zone, just throwing the ball around.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this play I'm making on the receiver. Look at this. Hey, and this was a nice, beautiful interception there by me.
Yeah, what happens next? I mean,
there are a few videos. That doesn't say concussion.
So
I'm surprised none of us got injured, to be fair.
Yeah, we've got a few videos just of us kind of throwing around.
Over there, but who they called it?
Thanks, Shane. There. Yeah, thanks for the throw at the end there, Shane. Made me look fantastic.
I mean, Craig, you were legit injured. It's all right.
Yeah. My torn rotator cuff is not best pleased that I was doing that on the field. I paid for that for a while. Steve's put where's Kev? Kev went back that day
on his way home.
Yeah, Kev was only able to come out for a few days, so we, apart from the Reds meetup and game day, the majority of the time, Kev was kind of doing his own thing because he had such a short amount of time over there. So it was just us. Now, if you remember earlier on in the podcast, Shane said he could easily make a field goal, so we made him put his money where his mouth is.
One of two, eh?
Shane, what happened on the kick?
I got iced. Do you know what it's like getting in the zone thinking I'm going to drill this kick, and then not one kid, but two kids come running on the field right in front of you. Took me at momentum, took me at my zone. It's my own fault. I shouldn't have let him get inside my head, but I got iced. I mean, I could drill a field goal. I did drill one field goal. Nobody told me I was going to get iced on the second one. That was not part of the plan. Any NFL teams watching? Yeah, I've got iced, Steve.
Yes, Steve.
I was thinking, are these kids going to move or what? Where's the parents here? What is going on? I'm trying to kick a game-winning field goal potentially, and I've got two little kids running on in front of me. You seen the way I kicked the first one? Them kids would have been gone through the ball.
You're not wrong. But yeah, I mean, mentally bullied by kids.
I was iced, man. I was iced, I'm telling you.
Wow.
I did have to warn the goal when I told him I was going to do it. I was like, just so you know, I am left-footed.
Because that's like a disability being left-footed, is it?
He had to snap the ball the right side.
Okay, yeah, true.
Yeah, he had to hold it on the opposite side, didn't he? So he didn't get.
Yeah, which was probably weird for him as well.
He got drilled. I didn't want to get drilling the holder.
True.
No.
Very true.
And then after that it was a case of we went back to the locker room. Anna and Kate hadn't seen the locker room obviously, whereas we had, so we decided to go in there.
Tell you what, that's going to make a good photo for maybe February in our calendar.
Yeah. We took a picture of Justin's locker. We had a photo done in front of a little op that they had there. We're back out onto the field and into another part of the stadium, one of the sort of lower suites where you can sort of see as we're kind of making our way out there. They had one of the Lombardis there. Dan, did you touch the Lombardi?
Yes. Yes.
So we all got pictures, and we were able to go back out onto the sideline, and just kind of take a few extra pictures with some of the sort of paraphernalia that they had out on the pitch. There is one last video of just us.
Leaving the locker. Yeah, leaving the locker room.
I don't know about you boys. I don't really care for our entrance music there.
No.
Christmas songs.
No.
I don't think it's replacing the Brandon London one anyway.
No. So I mean, we've been going for 2 hours, so let's kind of wrap things up a little bit. That's the entirety of 3 days we were out there, for eight days in total. We did a lot more than what we've shown. It was my first visit to New York. It was Shane's first visit to New York. So Shane, go to you first. Non-football related highlight from New York.
So many, ain't there? There genuinely is. Like, I've got to just mention it, but like just the views from the observatory towers that we got the opportunity to go to were something else completely out this world. But I'm actually going to go, and you guys will probably get it when I start explaining it. But probably one of the highlights to me was I swung into a Firehouse Engine 26. Me and Craig were just on the day we were going to Macy's. This Firehouse had its shutters open, and one of the guys said all right to us, and we kind of said all right, and he picked up on the accent, unsurprisingly, and he asked where we were from and asked if we wanted a tour of it and that of the Firehouse, and we went in there, give us a tour of the Firehouse. But then I've also got like a little 9/11 memorial there because they lost firefighters from that fatal day back in 2001, and that he kind of explained what some of the items were. The booking on sheet was there from that day. That they had fragments of one of the helmets from one of the guys that they unfortunately lost. And you know, we did do the 9/11 tour, but like kind of just how welcoming those guys were. I mean, there was an awkward moment when they asked us who our Premier League teams was, and obviously there was only me and Craig there, and me and Craig don't support Premier League teams, unfortunately. But you know, they were just really, really welcoming, and same bunch of guys. Massive respect for the job the emergency services do, and you know, for the time that took out, you know, I think we were in there a good 30 minutes, Craig, maybe 45 minutes. And it was completely unplanned. It was just shutters were up just by chance, poked our head in. And you know, I brought one of their t-shirts from them, and you know, just that was probably one of the highlights for me, because it was something that wasn't planned. Like I was hoping to see a Firehouse at some point. As I say, it was the first time I've been to America, let alone New York. So for me, it was like something I was hoping to do, but didn't know how possible it was. So for it to just sort of happen just by chance like that, and just how genuine the guys were from Engine 26. So I want to give a shout out to them.
Dan, I know you've been a few times, but what was the highlight of this trip? Just quickly, yes, Steve, yes, we did go to the Ghostbusters Firehouse.
We absolutely did. On the last day, actually, on the last morning, wasn't it? It's kind of hard to choose a highlight because the whole week was a highlight. If I was to choose one specific thing, it would probably be spending the week with you guys.
That doesn't count.
What do you mean it doesn't count?
No. I think
the whole week was a highlight, but the fact that we were together on this trip, obviously Kate and Anna were there as well. New York holds a special place in mine and Kate's hearts, and the fact that we were able to experience New York with you guys as well was absolutely my highlight.
It's funny. I contemplated having that as mine. I do have another one. Shane, I'm surprised you didn't say listening to Cher sing Christmas songs for the 4th time whilst in -8 degrees, watching the Rockefeller light turn on.
I mean, it was savage, wasn't it, Steve? I'll admit that. Savage. No, fuck that. Fuck that. No, fuck you. No, spending it with you guys was rubbish. No, I'm joking.
We watched the Rockefeller light turn on for 4 hours. We listened to Seth MacFarlane, Kelly Clarkson, and Cher sing Christmas songs before
and
the lights went on.
Don't forget Barry Manilow.
Oh, and Barry Manilow, yeah, and myriad of other people. It was great when you just heard. And now so and so is going to sing a song from the top of this massive building that you can't see the top of.
Yeah, great.
But me and Dan each other.
It's what you get. It's what you get. You get laughed at. You get. Come on.
I can get away with that. For me, I've got a few pictures. It was seeing the Knicks at MSG. MSG. I'm a massive wrestling fan. Was as a kid. Still follow it loosely now. MSG is an iconic venue for me. And being able to see the Knicks there and kind of see how much Anna enjoyed it. We got to see Cruz. Cruz was on Celebrity Row. So was Justin Tuck. Tracy Morgan was as well, and some kid from some Netflix show. And we got to see a Knicks win. So that was probably my highlight. I'm not ashamed to say as well, I am terrified of heights. So getting my sorry ass up the One World Observatory and actually seeing that view was a little bit special. I still can't believe that I actually did that, but the views were definitely worth it.
Absolutely were. You know what? Like I said, the whole week was a highlight. There's so many things you can pick out. The Thanksgiving Day parade on, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, although it's freezing and cold, again, another thing on your bucket list to tick off. Watching the Rockefeller tree be lit up, that was again another thing off the bucket list. Going up the top of the Rock Observatory and the One World Trade Observatory, fantastic views of the city, and just being in the city in general.
Let's not forget as well. I was going to say the one thing we do need to mention as well: the Thanksgiving meal that we had.
Oh,
that deserves a mention. That was
Jack Dempsey's. What a meal that was. That was unbelievably good.
Yeah,
I think the
meal we had out there.
I think the only thing that was missing was yams, isn't it? Maybe, I don't know. It was bloody delicious. That's the main thing. But yeah, what a week. If you want to know more about our week in New York, if you want to know some ideas and of things to do, places to see, if and when you plan to go there, get in touch with us. Let us know. We'll definitely put you in the right direction. Like I said, it's the 4th time I've been there, so I've experienced plenty of things in that city, so I can definitely give you some advice and some help and of things to see and places to go. But even though we could sit here for hours and talk about this, unfortunately, we've been here for 2. That's 2 hours, that is. That's all we've got time for this week. Like I said, we could relive the entire week, but there's just not the time, really, is there? Producer Craig is going to be on hosting duties on Thursday, along with Kev as well, as we look ahead to Monday Night Football against the Green Bay Packers, fresh off their win against the Chiefs, which was a bit of a shock on Sunday night. And also going to get Kev's highlights of his time in the Big Apple as well. So Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Producer Craig, Kev, they're going to be on here breaking down a Packers game. Anything else to add before we go, guys?
Just thanks to you guys for like literally top notch 8 days. Obviously, I know you two have known each other a while, but obviously it's the first time that I've spent any prolonged time with you guys. Obviously, we've only kind of met up at meetups a couple of times and that, but it was genuinely like being out there with people I'd known for literally all my life. In all honesty, like it was just a perfect 8 days. Couldn't have asked for anything better. And then, like, you know, just wrapping up everything we've spoken to tonight. Obviously, we started this podcast a couple of years ago, and just the way that it's kind of gone on to evolve, to the way that it has, presenting the opportunities that arrived to us over this past week. It's been absolutely amazing, and you know, for all the people we've shouted out, none of this even probably happens without the guys that tune in every single week and interact with us on X, formerly known as Twitter. You know, Steve's commenting, Jamie's commenting, etc. And you know, the guys from America, like we've mentioned as well. So, you know, hopefully it's not going to be the last time we ever go to New York. Pretty much guaranteed it won't be the last time we ever go to New York. And you know, hopefully we've not bored anybody for 2 hours and 5 minutes.
Yeah, kind of on that kind of note, I can see that there are still 10 people watching. Thank you. This is a hell of a long show for you to kind of stick with us for the slog. You know, we really appreciate all the comments and stuff that come up. Now, just as kind of like a teaser, maybe, we do want to go back next season. Early conversations have happened between a few of us that it could be October. If anybody wants to come out around the same time, let us know. We're more than happy to meet up with good people, go around with people, everything like that. So if you guys do want to do that, then let us know. We can keep tabs. We can keep you in the loop. Obviously, we'll put all our plans out here. Nothing will be set in stone until that schedule's out next year, for sure. But there are plans afoot, and if you want to come along, we would love to have you.
Yeah, man, for sure. I mean, it is still very, very, very early days in the fact that we've not even been back from the States for 4 days. But yeah, it's definitely something we want to have in the pipeline. We'd like to have a trip out there next year, next season at some point. October is a good time of year. You know, still early enough in the season that the Giants might be competitive. But you know, it's not too bad weather-wise. It was pretty damn cold this, you know, at the end of November, beginning of December. So if there's people that aren't so fond of the cold weather, at least October it'll still be relatively mild, but seems to be a fairly good time of year to go. But yeah, fully up for going next year. I mean, all you got to do is tell me where to be and I'll be there. I'm booking my ticket. But yeah, if any listeners or watchers are interested in potentially coming along with us in October, let us know. Get in touch because we'd love to have you along. But yeah, just a unbelievable week. I mean, not really much else we can say about it apart from just thanks to everybody for tuning in. Thanks to everybody for listening. Thanks to everybody who supported us along this journey over the last 2 years, because without you guys, we'd be nothing. So yeah, really, really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, which I'd expect you have done already, subscribe to our YouTube channel, because that, you know, keeps it going and keeps us ticking along, and it also allows you to find out the latest notifications of when we are going to be going live. Check out our Etsy shop as well. Show us some love that way. Buy yourself some podcast merch. Etsy.com/BigBlueUKIRL. You know, it's Christmas coming up. You know, you might have some pod merch on your Christmas list or your loved one's Christmas list. Who knows? Maybe. Get yourself some of that and show us some love. And yeah, it's a shame this week come to an end. An absolute whirlwind of a week, but like we said, it definitely won't be the last trip we make out there. So watch this space with that. My thanks, as ever, after 2 hours and 10 minutes, go to Shane and to Craig for joining me, and to you, the viewers and listeners, for still tuning in. We are signing off until next time. Let's go Giants.